What's going on, guys? Dan here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about how much money it takes to start an Amazon FBA business in 2024 the real way, the right way, and I'm going to be fully transparent. I'm going to give you the real costs, the real money. I'm not going to be like a YouTuber out there who, is just trying to sell a course or something and is going to tell you, oh, you can start with like $500. So we're not all about that here. We're about transparency because I want as many people as possible to be able to access the amazing opportunities that are in the Amazon FBA space. So I'm going to break down the costs, and myself, I had got into Amazon FBA back in 2017. That was my first online business. Since then, I've branched out into many different online businesses, and I've been coaching Amazon FBA for many of these years. In fact, I've owned one of the highest rated Amazon coaching companies in the space called Ecom Freedom. Now I'm running Ecom Academy, which is much more education focused, and now we're actually looking even past just helping people start Amazon FBA businesses. We're also bringing the Amazon FBA remote opportunities to people who want to go and get remote jobs, as well as people that want to start Amazon FBA consulting, e-commerce consulting, even starting e-commerce agencies. So that's what this channel is all about. So even if you're watching this video because you've been thinking of, you've been wanting to make money with Amazon FBA, you've been wanting to start an Amazon FBA business, but then you realize, I don't really have the starting capital, and I also just am not comfortable with taking this risk right now with this money because, the economy is tight right now. It's tighter than before. Costs are high, inflation's high, and so obviously people are more careful with the money that they have. You don't want to go and spend money on a new business and then lose it because someone on YouTube said that it's so easy and you can start with, such a little amount of money. And I totally understand that. So if you realize that by watching this video, it's too expensive, I'm going to give you an alternative. I'm going to give you two different alternatives, actually three, that you can actually also cash in on. You can use to level up your life that are also in the Amazon FBA space, but that don't involve you risking thousands of dollars in capital. But before that, let's get right into the costs. So first of all, I'm going to give you the most common scenario, the average, I would say, the one that most people that succeed. I'm just going to give you kind of the average amount that it takes to start a business. I'm not going to give you a low ball or a high ball, just the average. So the most common scenario for anybody that wants to start an Amazon FBA business, usually they spend about $3,000 to $5,000 US in starting. There are websites and videos and course companies that say, oh, you can start with as little as $500. And the truth is, no, I'd say less than 0.5% of people, in my opinion, start successfully with $500. Maybe back in 2016, 2017, even 2015, around the time when I was starting in the space, but not now. Just because product costs are more expensive, inflation, as I mentioned, shipping costs are more expensive, right? The world is just more expensive. That doesn't mean that Amazon FBA is a bad business. In fact, there's more customers on the website than ever, and e-commerce is a growing megatrend. It continues to grow every single year. It's going to be a $50 trillion market in 2050, as predicted when I actually just asked ChatGPT, is what it said. So the realistic number is somewhere around 3 to 5, and I'm going to break it down in a way that obviously, costs can range depending on how expensive and how cheap the product is that you select. By the way, we're specifically talking about private labeling. So just very quick, what is private labeling? Private labeling is when you go and you order a product in bulk. So you find, let's say you find a special type of fishing rod on Amazon. You're like, okay, cool. This looks like a good fishing rod. You did your product research. You did your market analysis, either followed a course or watched YouTube videos. And you're like, okay, cool. This is a product that is making money on Amazon. I have a few ideas to improve it. I'm going to improve it. And I'm going to go and launch this with my own brand and my own logo and, my own packaging design and everything. So that's what private labeling is. It's when you find the product and then you find a supplier for it in, for example, China, or it can be anywhere in the world. Now, Amazon sellers are actually looking beyond China too. China still remains the best place for anything that does not go on your skin or in your mouth, involving your human body. So we're talking about supplements, any types of foods, any types of beauty products. Although there's a lot of people that source beauty products from China successfully. But in the vast majority of cases, China is still used and preferred as a supplier. We'll see how that changes, but it doesn't matter. It's not really going to affect Amazon because there's always going to be a supplier and there's always going to be a market for physical products, right? So anyway, let's say that we have found a fishing rod, right? Let's say that we have decided to improve it. We have a few improvements in mind, and we contacted a supplier. We found a supplier in China, and we told them what we wanted, and they quoted us $7.50 per unit. Okay, so $7.50. I could have said a $2 product or a $3 product. My first product on Amazon, I remember it was about $1.86 per unit, and then with shipping it ended up being $2.20 per unit. So with I think at the time it was air shipping. It wasn't really a big product or anything, but that's how much it was, right? But right now I only recommend selling products, us at Ecom Academy, we only recommend selling products that you can price at least at $40, $45, $50. $50 or above is preferable. $40 is kind of on the very low end because if you launch a product that is below $50, your room room for profit, it's just going to be so much harder to make money, right? Because of your FBA fees and just all the unit costs and shipping fees. The more expensive the product, the easier it is to make money, right? You just have to make sure that obviously you're pricing a product reasonably. So just for this example, we're going to say $7.50 per unit. And let's say that we order a minimum order quantity of 250 units. You can also order 500 units. A minimum order quantity, that's MOQ, that's what that stands for. And that's a shipping term for the minimum amount of units that you have to buy from a supplier so that they are able to successfully private label your product, meaning put your logo and your packaging design and put that all together and then ship it out. Because suppliers will not just, you can't just go and be like, yeah, like make me 10 units with my logo. They're not going to do that because they're not going to calibrate their machines just for 10 units or 20 units, for your logo, right? So that's what makes it worth it for them if you order in bulk. So let's just say we order 250 units, okay? So that's $7.50 per unit, 250 units. That comes out to $1,875, $1,875. And let's say that on that, we pay about $1,000 in shipping. Right? And I'm just highballing it because I want to be realistic with you. Like it could be as low as $500. Shipping rates change. They're typically $6 to $7 per kilogram if it's sea shipping. Air shipping is much higher, but it can still be effective if it's a very small product or you need units fast, because air shipping usually only takes up to a week. Sea shipping can take 30 to 45 days, up to 45 days on average, because it has to cross the ocean on a boat, and the boat does not go that fast, right? So anyway, $1,000 for shipping, okay? So that brings us to $2,875, okay? And now, well, obviously we still need money for like the packaging and the logo, right? So unless you're like a talented graphic designer, you have some graphic design skills, or you're willing to play around in Canva, which is like a free online graphic design tool, and they have different templates and stuff like, you can use to create a logo. And I've created logos in the past on Canva. I'm not a graphic designer by any means. So that is a possibility. That would make your logo and your branding free. But for the vast majority of cases, people do hire a graphic designer online for that. And so that can cost anywhere from $50 to $100 if you use a cheaper website like Fiverr, which is like a freelance website where you can hire graphic designers from, usually it's like third world countries. There's still a lot of good ones, but they're just in like cheaper cost of living countries. So it just, you're able to kind of access still like decent talent for cheaper, right? Or you can go the expensive option, which can be higher quality. And that would be like from, a graphic designer from the US or from Europe, or from a more expensive country, or just a more talented designer, more experienced designer. That can be up to $500, right? So anywhere between $100 to $500 is what you're looking at for just getting a logo and branding design done. And I'm going to make another video on how to actually get beautiful logo, beautiful packaging, and beautiful branding done so that your brand really stands out. And I'm going to show you like the actual websites and my experience with them, what to use, what to avoid. So we'll get into that. So that brings our cost up to, let's just say for this example, we're going to take the average. So $250 is what we spent on packaging and branding, so that's $3,125. Well, we still need product photos. Product photos are a super important part of an Amazon listing because it's what people see when they decide whether they want to buy your product or not. And product photos typically cost $30 to $50 per photo from a professional photographer. And since Amazon allows a maximum of 9 photos, obviously that can go up to $450. So 50 times 9, $450. Now, maybe you have a friend who's a photographer who's willing to do it for cheaper or for free, or you can find somebody locally. Like if you're at a university, there's a ton of different photographers that are available for, freelance or pro bono services, right? Or they just want to build their portfolio, get more experience. So that's always an option, right? Like obviously resourcefulness, being resourceful as an entrepreneur is very important, and thinking outside the box. But if you do want to pay, that's how much it's going to be. Let's say that we want to get 9 photos, right? So that's going to be $450. So that's $3,575, right? And so what's left? Well, what's left is could be like the packaging fees. So usually it depends on the supplier, but if your packaging is pretty simple, like a simple box with a logo, they can include that in your per unit cost. If they don't, then it can cost anywhere from like 30 cents per unit for like the box with the logo on it for the custom packaging, to 50 cents to like $1, but rarely. Let's say that we are paying that. It's going to cost, let's say 30 cents times 250 units, that's $75. That would bring our total cost to start Amazon for this specific product to $3,650. And this is a very average new Amazon business, right? I didn't select the super cheap unit cost. I said $7.50, and I was very realistic with the numbers, right? So obviously if you get a cheaper unit, cost cheaper product, you can sell it for cheaper, right? You're not going to be able to sell it for as much because obviously the product is cheaper. But you will be able to start for maybe 2.5K or 2. Now, obviously, if you decide to go with a product that you can sell for $100 or more, your total startup cost can go up to $5,000 plus, because your unit cost is likely going to be like $12 or $15 per unit, or 20 or higher, right? So the more expensive the unit cost from China, from Alibaba, any supplier, the more expensive typically you can sell the product for. That makes sense? So anyway, for our example, we're at $3,650. Okay. And so now there's like costs that are more variable and on a much lower scale and monthly. What we just mentioned, the $3,650, that's just the cost to start to get the product into Amazon and start selling. But then we have to pay a few different fees, right? So we have the Amazon Professional Selling Plan, which is a plan that you need to purchase to be able to sell on Amazon and not have to pay a fee per unit, which would be on the individual plan. That's a free plan, but you do have to pay $1 per unit sold. So it gets really inefficient and very expensive very quickly. So that's why we pay $40 a month. So it's actually $39.99 a month for the professional Amazon plan. And that's just something that all Amazon sellers pay that are serious about selling on Amazon and have any kind of, serious business that they're selling. Then we have Amazon FBA fees, but those are not an upfront cost because Amazon charges that for every unit. So let's say that product costs $50 to sell, and let's say the FBA fee is like $8, including the referral fee. So there's actually two parts to an Amazon FBA fee. We'll just say, just to keep it simple, $8. That means that Amazon will deduct that $8 from that $50 sale. Okay, so it's not like you don't have to prepay that or anything. So I'm not including that in the upfront cost. It's just that when you're actually doing your product research and picking your product, you make sure that you run all of your profit calculations correctly so that you bake in that FBA fee into your expected profit margin, right? So you don't get caught like off guard. A lot of people, they don't even run their profit calculations, which is just insane. I'm going to make a video here on how to run profit calculations on this channel, so I'm excited about that. So important. You don't have to be a crazy business person or any kind of accountant. Trust me, I'm not. This is something important to do, or else you're going into business in the blind, and you might, make mistakes and lose money, right? So that's the FBA fee. We're not including that since that's more of a variable cost that's like deducted from your Amazon balance anyway from each sale. Then we have Amazon PPC. It's the same thing. Amazon PPC stands for pay-per-click advertising, which is when you bid a certain amount for keywords. Let's say that we're selling this upgraded fishing pole, right? We would bid for fishing pole, right? Or let's say it's a carbon fishing pole. We put carbon fishing pole, let's just say for example, right? And we're paying Amazon to show our carbon fishing pole at the top. And depending how much we bid, which means depending how much we want to pay per click, then that determines how far up Amazon will show our product. And so basically what happens here, so let's say that we're bidding $5 per click and somebody clicks on our sponsored product listing, which shows up when somebody searches for carbon fishing pole, and then they purchase it. That means that, okay, so our product is $50, Amazon deducts $8 for the FBA and referral fee, and then they would deduct an additional $5 for the PPC sale, leaving us with, the profit, right? So that is how PPC works. So PPC, they don't charge that to you like before you make sales. They only charge that to you when people actually click on your product and you're bidding on those things. Now you have a problem if you're running Amazon PPC and you're getting a ton of clicks but no sales, but then you have a different issue, meaning your listing is not optimized and your product might not be the best or just the way that you're showing it. But that usually is not the case if you follow all the right steps. So anyway, that's why I'm leaving PPC kind of as a variable cost. It really, really depends. You don't need to set aside money for it because it gets deducted off of your Amazon balance anyway from the money that you make that Amazon pays you. And it makes you money too. That is the whole point of PPC. So that pretty much covers it. Then we have some basic other expenses like setting up your LLC. That can be anywhere from $100 to $500 higher depending on the country you're in. That's how much it is for a US one anyway. There's a variety of services for that like LegalZoom, Law Depot, InkFile, just from the top of my head. Right, so it's a pretty basic thing. You can get that done. There's also PPC software, like $50 to $100 a month if you need. There's some good ones out there I'm going to make videos on too. So that is how much it costs. But like, let's say you're like, that's too expensive. Like, I don't know. I don't want to do this. It's too much of a risk. I completely understand. That's why what people don't realize is right now in 2024, there's actually a huge market for Amazon FBA jobs, for Amazon FBA specialists, or what they're called. Basically people that know how to run an Amazon FBA business, that have the skills with Amazon Seller Central. And, there's all these e-commerce brands that have started in the past several years that need employees. It's just that there's a lack of people that are familiar with the Amazon space. And right now, at the time of making this video, if you search on Indeed, which is a job search website in the United States, if you type in e-commerce, there's thousands of jobs available. You can see for yourself, right? They're looking for e-commerce specialists, for Amazon, even, for Shopify, or a lot of brands are on a lot of different platforms. And so that is an opportunity for you as well. If you want to learn Amazon FBA, but you don't necessarily have the money to start, or you just don't want to take the risk, you can get into the field by getting a remote job. That's exactly what I would do if I were to start right now, if I were to go back in time, if I was starting in 2024. But if I was like 21 years old when I started, because that would allow me to start getting paid to learn Amazon FBA, get good at it, get some practice launching some products, managing some products, so that I could use that money and that experience and put it into my own Amazon FBA business, so that, within a year or two, I have my own self-sustaining business, and I can quit that job and then, be my own boss and go remote, become an entrepreneur full time. That is an opportunity. There's also the opportunity of becoming an FBA consultant. I'm a consultant. Like what I'm doing is coaching you. That is consulting, but also you can do it on a more one-on-one basis. You can, become a consultant and charge hundreds of dollars per hour, even more, depending on your experience, to help brands grow, fix their problems, help them scale. That is available, obviously, for somebody who has Amazon experience. So even by getting a remote job at first or starting an Amazon FBA business, launching a few products, you can become a consultant in a year or two and make good money there, and even leverage that to start an e-commerce agency, which is an agency that basically has brands paying it money as a monthly retainer, thousands of dollars per month, even with a % revenue share or a % profit share, because there's so many e-commerce brand owners that just started for the freedom and they don't want to run their business anymore. They just want to travel and chill. So that is an opportunity as well. So it's really just a huge space. And to make it easier for you, I put together a free course called the Amazon FBA Free Crash Course that shows you exactly how to start, what you need to do, no matter where you are in the world, no matter who you are, no matter what your experience is, right? As long as you can, use a computer, which I assume you can, you're watching this video. So the link for that crash course is down below, no credit card required. And I made this course because I wanted as many people as possible to have access to this information so they know where to start. The biggest problem nowadays is so many people know about these remote opportunities, but they don't know how to access them. And as someone who has figured it out himself, myself, I figured it out over the past many years. And as a veteran in this space, I'm so happy to be presenting this information to you and to be able to put it in a course format. So it's free. The link is down below. Check it out. And I promise you won't be disappointed. You're going to be actually excited because it will show you exactly what the best ways are to go remote with Amazon FBA and start making money, start leveling up your life as fast as you can. So the link for that is down below. Thank you so much for watching. On this channel, I am making the absolute best Amazon FBA videos, at least I strive to, and I'm sharing all of the best information for you to actually be able to level up your life, become your own boss, and achieve freedom, whatever that means to you, right? So just leave me a comment down below. Tell me, if you have any video ideas for me. Subscribe. All the links are down below. Take that crash course. I'm sure you won't be disappointed.